So a particular trailer has just been posted online. Let's have a look at it. Hey everyone, this is James from Ring Books. So even though this is a channel dedicated specifically to books, I just couldn't overlook reacting to and discussing the new trailer to The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the upcoming Amazon series which will air this year on September 2nd. As a Tolkien fan, I'm really excited about this release and I'm trying to somewhat lower my expectations a bit. But it's really hard to do considering the amount of work that has been going into the production of the series. Not to mention the staggering and quite frankly ridiculous budget that went into the production of the first season alone. So let's jump straight into this and have a look at the trailer.
Haven't you ever wondered what else is out there?
Ooh, nice.
There's wonders in this world.
New Zealand, New Zealand. Oh, nice. Galadriel. Ooh. Oh, new creatures. Love the music. Okay, so first off, I loved it, especially the music. That's the first thing which stood out for me. And in fact, it's been reported that composer Howard Shore, who composed the music for both the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies, was in talks to compose the music for the series. But that actually hasn't been confirmed yet as far as I know. However, I really do hope that the music that we've heard in the trailer is actually part of the score for the series, rather than some generic epic music used for trailers, because I really enjoyed it and I think it really fits with the theme of the series. Next up, I think the visuals look spectacular. True, we didn't get much of the New Zealand landscape and instead relying on a little bit of computer-generated imagery, but from what I saw it still looks remarkable. And that said, I'm also very much intrigued by the appearance of all these characters. What we've seen so far in the trailer looks fantastic and very much a part of Middle-earth. The issues and concerns that seem to have emerged regarding the diversity of the cast and their ethnicity is something I'm not really concerned by. As long as the story works, ultimately I honestly have no problem with that. One thing I might have an issue with is the amount of invented characters and plot lines for the series. Naturally, I understand that this series is ultimately based on roughly 100 pages of appendices, notes, and not much material has been generated by Tolkien about what happens in the Second Age. So the show's creators have to rely very much on their own imagination to create dialogue and characters that work. So I do understand the need to enhance and embellish the series with these different characters and plot lines. But whether or not that works is yet to be seen. Now back to this trailer. So let's pick the most prominent shots from the trailer and analyze them. So first up we have the opening shot. Now this looks very much like the island of Numenor, the kingdom of men founded to the far west of Middle-earth. We can see what might possibly be the Meneltarma, which Tolkien tells us was at the center of the island upon which a temple was built dedicated to Ilúvatar. And this city could potentially, given its geography, either be the haven of Eldalonde on the western shores of the island, or instead Ravenna, the main seaport of Numenor to the east. Next, this appears to be actress Markella Kavanagh, who is reported to be playing a curious Harfoot. The Harfoots, as you all know, were one of the three types of hobbits who, along with the Fellowhides and the Stoors, emerged in Middle-earth and travelled west before settling in what is later on known as the Shire. Whether or not her character is the voiceover we're hearing at the beginning of the trailer is not yet revealed. Alright, and here we have the character of Galadriel, who appears to be one of the main protagonists in the series, portrayed by Morfydd Clark. She seems to be a very active character, as we can see here. You can also see the engraved image of the two trees of Valinor on the pommel and hilt of her sword. It looks gorgeous, though I can't help but wonder whether this particular shot is actually digital. I don't know, there's something in the way the character dangles and jumps, and even the face looks very digital for some reason. I might be wrong, but it strikes me as very odd. Next shot we have a glimpse of an invented character named Halbrand, and interpreted by Charlie Vickers. How do we know this is him? Well, Vanity Fair recently released a very in-depth and interesting behind-the-scenes article, which I will post the link to down below, in which this character is described as a castaway whose destiny becomes intertwined with Galadriel's. And here we have another new character for the purposes of the series, known as Arondir, interpreted by Ismael Cruz Cordova. He's described as a Sylvan elf and is seen here with some impressive archery skills. And I must say I'm liking the look of this character. I think his will be one of the more interesting storylines of the series. And here we have a favorite amongst Tolkien readers. At least he is a favorite of mine. None other than Ereinion Gil-Galad, the High King of the Elves of the West. Here interpreted by Benjamin Walker. Gil-Galad, together with Elrond, opposed the power of Sauron during the Second Age, until they confronted him during the War of the Last Alliance, which I believe will be featured in the series as well. And this handsome beast also makes an appearance. It's impossible to know offhand what this creature might be, but given the icy environment he seems to find himself in, I'm going for a snow troll. Tolkien refers to a snow troll only once in the appendices when describing the then King of Rohan, Helm Hammerhand, as stalking his enemies like a snow troll. So whether or not these kinds of trolls actually existed in Middle-earth or whether this was just a saying is never made evident in the books. But it would be a nice touch from Amazon to introduce us to a set of new creatures that are only hinted at in the books. So we'll see. Owain Arthur, here interpreting the character of Durin IV. Now, Durin in this series appears to be a prince for the time being, but as we know from Tolkien, he was one of the kings and rulers of Khazad-Dum, one of the dwarf strongholds in Middle-earth. He was also in existence during the forging of the Rings of Power, and actually bore one of them, and together with Gil-Galad and Elrond, opposed the return of Sauron. Yes, here we have a glimpse of a young Elrond. From some production stills and behind-the-scenes photos I've seen of the series, I'm really liking this interpretation of Elrond, and I'm very excited to see what the actor Roberto Aramayo brings to this character. And what about short-haired elves? I don't really mind. I know there's been and still is quite an uproar among several fans claiming that elves should only have long hair. Personally, I don't really mind, I don't think it's important, and as I said before, I'm loving this character's portrayal so far. And here we have another invented character by the name of Disa, who presumably is the wife of Durin, as she is labelled as a princess of Khazad-Dum. Her character is interpreted by Sofia Nomvete, and again, although there's a lot of material not present in Tolkien's writings, I think it's interesting and essential to have some new characters to help tell the story that needs to be told. So I'm also excited by this addition to the long list of characters in this series. Now, I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. I've tried analyzing this from every possible angle and I still can't make heads or tails of it. It looks like Markella Kavanagh's Hobbit character being rescued by a mysterious figure in this fiery event. At first glance I thought this character was Durin due to the striking resemblance of the beard, hair and even the proportions of the body, which, if that is indeed a hobbit, a dwarf's proportions would match that scale. But without any further context, it's impossible to tell really. And here's the cherry on the cake for me. There's so much going on here, but so little idea of what's actually happening. At first glance, this reminded me of Peter Jackson's own interpretation of the Battle of Dagorlad, which was part of the War of the Last Alliance. And given that we know this event will be part of the series, I'm strongly inclined to think that this is the same battle. The orcs and their armor are clearly visible, even the environment, which looks suspiciously similar to a Mordor atmosphere, with dark, gloomy skies and fires burning in the background. But what I'm still unsure and intrigued by is whether the orcs are battling elves or men. These could either be elves under Gil-Galad and Elrond, or else Dunedain, men of the West, under the command of Isildur and Elendil. The actor here looks like Daniel Wayman, but we don't know yet whom he's interpreting. Also, I can't quite tell whether that ear is pointed or not. Nevertheless, this is a fantastic shot and it really gets me excited about this series. So that's the analysis for today. Overall, I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. However, I do have some reservations and wouldn't like to have any particularly ambitious expectations for the show in case it doesn't work for me. But we'll have to see. So what do you guys think about this trailer and about the rumors and the news concerning the series so far? As always, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!